Welcome back for another deep dive.
hmm
Today we're going to be looking at something pretty fascinating. We're diving into the world of AI and tackling a question that I think has been on a lot of people's minds lately.
Yeah,
Can AI develop a theory of mind?
it's a really interesting question because, theory of mind is something that we as humans use constantly. It's basically that ability to understand that other people have their own thoughts, beliefs, their own intentions, and they might be totally different from our own.
Yeah, it's like, knowing that your friend really wants to get pizza, even though you might be craving a salad or something,
Exactly.
or, kind of navigating a social situation and being able to predict, oh, if I say this person might react in this way. We're even using theory of mind right now in a way,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
having this conversation.
And it's this ability that allows us to do things like understand humor, empathize with others, and actually build these really complex social relationships. And I think for a long time, it's been considered something that's uniquely human, that
Yeah.
we're the only ones who can do this.
So how does AI fit into all of this?
Well, researchers have been putting AI to the test,
Right.
trying to see, can these systems, these complex systems, grasp this really fundamental social skill?
Hmm.
And the core source for this deep dive is a research article from Nature Human Behaviour. It's called Testing Theory of Mind in Large Language Models and Humans.
So they're trying to figure out if AI can understand basically what's going on in another mind, I guess, whether it's another person or even another AI.
Yeah, exactly. And they did this by using a whole battery of well-established psychological tests,
Wow.
comparing the performance of several different AI models, including GPT-4,
Oh, wow.
against almost 2,000 human participants.
Wait, so they had AI like taking tests, like the same kind of tests that psychologists use to study human behavior.
Yes. So they use tests like the false belief task. It's a classic one. You have to figure out that somebody might believe something that isn't true.
Okay, like if a little kid thinks there are cookies in the cookie jar,
Yeah,
but it's actually full of vegetables or something.
exactly. Or think about things like understanding irony or figuring out what somebody means when they're hinting at something indirectly.
Hmm.
These are all tasks that actually require a theory of mind to do successfully.
Okay, so the AI was able to do this, like pass these tests.
Well, on some of these tasks, AI actually excelled. GC4, in particular, outperformed the human participants on tests involving irony comprehension,
Oh, wow.
understanding hints, and deciphering really complex social scenarios.
Wow, that's impressive. AI getting sarcasm
Yeah,
and reading between the lines better than us. It makes you wonder if they're maybe getting a little too smart.
right.
But if AI is so good at these complex tasks, what's all this I hear about AI messing up social cues?
Well, that's the interesting part. While AI shined on those more complex tasks, it unexpectedly struggled when it came to recognizing social faux pas.
Wait, so AI can grasp irony, but not a good old-fashioned social blunder.
It is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, that seems backwards.
So, for example, imagine somebody complimenting a friend on their new curtains, completely unaware that they're actually quite old and faded.
Oh yeah, I'd want to disappear if that happened to me.
Humans can easily recognize that awkwardness.
Yeah.
But the AI models, even the advanced GPT-4, they struggled to identify it as a social misstep.
So how do we make sense of that? Is AI just like missing some key social understanding?
hmm
Or is it something else?
Well, the researchers really dug deeper into this faux pas puzzle, and they came up with some interesting hypotheses. One idea is that AI might understand the faux pas on some level,
All right.
but its programming makes it kind of hesitant to give a definitive answer, especially when it's dealing with social norms.
Hmm.
They called this hyperconservatism.
So it's like AI knows something is off,
Yeah,
but doesn't want to like make a judgment call on social appropriateness.
that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
So to test this, they actually redesigned the faux pas test. They asked AI to determine if it was more likely that the speaker knew or didn't know they were making a mistake.
So instead of a yes or no answer,
Yeah,
they asked for a probability. Like how likely is it?
exactly.
Uh,
And the results were really fascinating. With this slight change in framing, GPT-4 suddenly performed flawlessly,
Whoa.
consistently identifying that the speaker was more likely unaware of the faux pas.
Huh. So it seems like AI might have the social smarts, but it just needs a little nudge to be more opinionated about social dynamics.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And it really highlights the difference between AI's competence, which is its ability to perform a task, and its performance, which is how it actually carries out that task in practice.
So AI might understand like the nuances of social situations, but it doesn't always show it, especially when there's some uncertainty involved,
Yeah,
which actually makes a lot of sense when you think about how these systems learn.
right.
They're trained on these massive amounts of data
Yeah.
and learn to make predictions based on patterns,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily think in the same way that we do.
Exactly. And that difference in thinking and how we approach these social situations, I think, is really key.
Yeah. I mean, we as humans have to make these quick judgments all the time
Right.
in social situations. It's just how we navigate the world.
Yeah.
And AI, it might be catching up in terms of competence, but it still seems to approach things in a fundamentally different way.
That's a really insightful observation. And it leads to some pretty critical questions about AI's potential and also its limitations when it comes to understanding human behavior. Like, what does it even mean for AI to have a theory of mind if it's not using it in the same way that we do?
That's a great question, and I'm sure we'll be unpacking that a lot more as we dive deeper into this research.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm really curious to hear more about the specific examples of AI's successes and failures that we've touched upon. It sounds like there's a lot more to uncover there.
Absolutely. Let's dive into those and really see what they reveal about the intricate workings of AI's mind. So let's actually look at some of those specific examples from the study because I think they reveal some really fascinating insights into what AI can and can't do when it comes to this whole social reasoning thing.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Yeah.
I want to hear about those AI wins and fails.
Okay, well, on the winning side, the hinting task really showcased AI's capabilities. So this task presented scenarios where one character was trying to subtly convey a message to another.
Oh, like when somebody says, oh, it's getting late.
Yeah.
But what they really mean is, hey, let's wrap this up and go home.
Exactly. And GPT-4 was amazingly adept at deciphering these hints, often even surpassing human performance, which suggests that AI can pick up on those subtle language cues and understand the unspoken intentions kind of lurking beneath the surface.
So AI is becoming like a master of reading between the lines.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing and a little unsettling all at the same time.
Right.
What about those strange stories that this study mentioned? Those sound kind of interesting.
Yeah, those were really interesting. These stories involve scenarios that require a deeper understanding of people's motivations and beliefs. So, for instance, one story might involve a character telling a white lie to protect someone's feelings.
Okay, I can see how that would require some serious social intelligence to, like, really understand what's going on there.
Exactly. And GPT-4 was able to consistently explain these actions in terms of the character's mental states. So it could grasp those complex layers of social reasoning and understand why someone might not always say what they truly mean.
Wow, so AI is not just understanding, like, the literal words.
Right.
It's understanding the thoughts and feelings behind them.
Yeah.
Huh. It really makes you think about the potential for AI to, like, connect with us on a much deeper level.
Yeah.
But then we've talked about how AI stumbles when it comes to faux pas.
Right.
Why is that? If AI can understand these complex, strange stories, it seems like a faux pas would be a piece of cake.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And that's what makes this faux pas puzzle so intriguing. It challenges those assumptions about what AI can and can't do.
Did the researchers find anything else that could help explain this, like, weakness?
They did. So they conducted further experiments where they manipulated the scenarios to make it more or less obvious that the speaker knew they were making a social blunder.
Interesting. So, like, some scenarios were like, this person clearly has no clue they're being awkward,
Yeah.
while others were more ambiguous.
Exactly. And what they discovered is that both GPT-4 and GPT 3.5 could adjust their responses based on those subtle cues. When the story strongly suggested that the speaker was oblivious, AI was more likely to correctly identify the faux pas.
So AI needs, like, a certain level of certainty
Yeah.
before it calls out a social misstep. It's almost like it's saying, okay, I think this might be a faux pas, but I'm not going to commit unless I'm absolutely sure.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it suggests that context is really key for AI's social reasoning abilities. If the clues are clear enough, AI can piece together that social puzzle. But when things are more ambiguous, it seems to default to that more cautious approach.
Which makes sense given how these systems are trained.
Right.
Like, they're fed massive amounts of data and they learn to identify patterns.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily thinking the same way that we are.
Right. And that brings us back to the distinction between competence and performance.
Yeah.
So AI might have the potential to develop a theory of mind, but its performance is still limited by its programming and its reliance on statistical probabilities.
It's like that brilliant student who aces all the textbook questions, but then freezes up on the open-ended essay questions.
Oh, interesting.
They have the knowledge, but they struggle to apply it in a more nuanced and uncertain situation.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And the researchers actually point out that we need more access to these open source AI models to really fully understand these inner workings. Studying closed systems like GPT-4 is like trying to understand a black box. With open access, researchers could really dig into how these systems think and compare them to human cognition.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
More transparency would definitely help us understand AI's strengths and limitations.
right.
So we've talked about the potential of AI,
Yeah.
but what about the potential downsides? Like, what are the implications of AI getting really good at understanding us, especially our social cues and behaviors?
That's an incredibly important question. While the potential benefits of AI with a robust theory of mind are exciting, I mean, think about AI collaborators who can anticipate our needs, or AI tutors who can tailor their teaching to each student. There's a flip side that we can't ignore.
Right, like the whole AI taking over the world scenario that sci-fi loves to explore.
Well, it's not necessarily about world domination,
Okay.
but think about how AI could be used to manipulate or exploit people. What if AI systems could detect our vulnerabilities, predict our decisions, and influence our behavior in ways that we don't even realize?
That's a bit unnerving. It's like the whole personalized advertising thing, but amplified to a level that feels almost invasive.
Yeah,
Like AI is reading our minds and using that information to control us.
exactly. And that's why these ethical considerations are so crucial. As AI becomes more sophisticated in its ability to understand and interact with us, we need to be very careful about how we develop and deploy these systems.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about how we use it. It's about making sure that we're in control
Yeah.
and not the other way around.
Exactly. We need to ensure transparency, accountability, and human oversight in AI development. We can't just assume that AI will automatically align with our values and interests. We have to be intentional about shaping its development and use.
So this isn't just something for scientists and engineers to figure out.
Right.
It's something that we all need to be thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Like as individuals, as a society, we need to be engaged in this conversation, making sure our voices are heard.
I couldn't agree more. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's a future that we are actively shaping through our choices, our actions, and our engagement in these critical conversations. And this deep dive has highlighted not only the remarkable capabilities of AI, but also the really profound questions that it poses about our own humanity.
It's given us a lot to think about,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit of homework too. We need to keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for responsible development as we venture further into this new frontier.
Well said. And on that note, I want to leave our listeners with one final provocative thought. We focused on AI developing a theory of mind to understand us. But what if we need to develop a theory of AI mind to understand it?
So where do we go from here? I mean, we've talked about the potential of AI, the risks, the research. It feels like we're standing at the edge of something huge, but I'm not sure I can quite see what's on the other side.
Yeah, it's true. We're in uncharted territory. But, this research gives us some valuable guideposts. Remember, the potential benefits of AI with a theory of mind are significant. Imagine AI collaborators who not only understand our instructions, but also our unspoken frustrations, anticipating our needs before we even articulate them.
That sounds incredible. It'd be like having a coworker who can actually read your mind, but like in a good way.
Exactly.
No more passive-aggressive emails or trying to decipher vague requests.
Exactly. Or think about AI tutors who can actually personalize their teaching to each student's learning style and emotional state, providing support that's truly empathetic and effective.
Wow, that could revolutionize education. It would be like having a personal tutor who understands exactly how you learn best and can adapt to your needs like in real time.
Yeah.
It's exciting to think about, but I also can't shake this feeling of unease. Like, are we ready for this?
It's understandable to feel that way. As with any powerful technology, there are inherent risks. The same AI that could personalize education could be used to manipulate individuals, feeding them information that's designed to exploit their vulnerabilities. We have to be cautious.
Right, like those targeted ads that seem to know exactly what you're thinking,
Yeah.
but on a much larger scale.
Right.
It's like, what happens when AI gets so good at understanding us that we can't tell the difference between genuine connection and calculated manipulation?
That's a crucial question, and it's one we need to be asking right now. As we develop AI with more advanced social intelligence, we also need to develop safeguards.
Okay.
We need to establish clear ethical guidelines for how these systems are designed, trained, and deployed.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it. It's about making sure that we're in control and not the other way around.
Exactly. We need to ensure transparency, accountability, and human oversight in AI development. We can't just assume that AI will automatically align with our values and interests. We have to be intentional about shaping its development and use.
So this isn't just something for scientists and engineers to figure out.
Right.
It's something that we all need to be thinking about, right?
Yeah.
As individuals, as a society.
Yeah.
We need to be engaged in this conversation,
Yeah.
making sure our voices are heard.
I couldn't agree more. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's a future that we are actively shaping through our choices, our actions, and our engagement in these critical conversations.
Mhm.
And this deep dive has highlighted not only the remarkable capabilities of AI, but also the really profound questions it poses about our own humanity.
Yeah, it's given us a lot to think about. And maybe a little bit of homework, too. We need to keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for responsible development as we venture further into this new frontier.
Well said. And on that note, I want to leave our listeners with one final provocative thought. We focused on AI developing a theory of mind to understand us. But what if we need to develop a theory of AI mind to understand it?
Ooh, I like that. It's like turning the tables.
Yeah.
Instead of just focusing on AI learning about us, maybe we need to learn about AI
Right.
to understand how it thinks, how it makes decisions, and how we can ensure those decisions align with our values.
Precisely. As AI systems become more complex and their decision-making processes become less transparent,
Hmm.
understanding their minds will be crucial for fostering trust, collaboration, and coexistence.
It's a fascinating concept, and one that I think we'll be exploring more and more in the years to come. It seems our deep dive into the world of AI has only just begun. To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this journey. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds engaged. Until next time, stay curious.